Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets every Tuesday night. Last time, the party made their way through the ancient Temple of Bala, where prior to her rising, her scale had been guarded by animated trees in the forest of Sylvanas. After surviving a battle against several slimes and a dire bulette, the party found some gold and then continued on to the chamber containing, supposedly, the scales of Bala and Karasoth. As they entered, they were entreated by a deep and booming voice from somewhere within the room, a source they could not see, that explained to them in neutral terms when the temple was created and what it did and what happened with the dragons after their sires were silenced 1,000 years previous. As Laramendus tried to figure how this voice might be generated, what spell might be used to place it here, it began to respond to prompts by Vendar. It became apparent that they were dealing with an intelligence, and then Leah entered the room and was able to see with her, I think it's called Witch Sight. Either way, due to her invocation, that there was a dragon concealed by illusion magic within the room. Once the entire party had entered, the dragon dropped this invisibility and revealed himself to be a blue dragon and introduced himself as Azurai. Azurai explained that he did not want Tiamat to return and rule over the dragons, and did not want Karasoth to be around either, offering to give the party the scales of Bala and Karasoth should they bring him the scale of El-Sementh, his own sire, or perhaps grandsire, seeming not to want El-Sementh sealed away as the others. Seeing the prophet in such an alliance, not having to fight one of the 4 children of Tiamat, who threatens the world, and perhaps being able to work out some kind of cordial deal with El-Sementh himself, the party chose to accept this job for Azurai. Azurai explained that he is working with some dragons outside who would attack if he gave them the command, but if they have a deal, then they too will be the party's allies. Not wanting to reveal all of the cards in their hand, Jebel insisted that the party not immediately give up the scale of El-Sementh, and worked out that they should at least put on some charade to indicate that they had to retrieve it from elsewhere, if not feign having to locate it. The details of that are yet to be discussed. As it stood, the party was allowed to leave the presence of Azurai, given that they had agreed to his deal and promised to return with the scale of El-Sementh in exchange for the 2 he held. And so, we join the party, minus Cyrus for the moment, as they exit at the top of the temple again, back out into the sunlight, into the forest of Bala. Outside, you can see the trees are not currently fighting. One is pinned to the ground as a huge green dragon rests atop it, while the other is staring down a green dragon that floats just out of reach.
Green? I was expecting them to be blue.
These are both green dragons.
Yeah, Leah would say that in telepathic bond.
Okay.
It's possible, also telepathically, it's possible that their intent was to waylay us should we, once we make the deal with Azurai and acquire Bala's scale and run away with it, or perhaps they're not particularly fond of their ancestor.
Possible.
Can a dragon appear as different colors than they are? They can shape change and stuff.
I turn to Leah. Do they look like they are under the effect of some kind of illusion?
I'm too far away.
Oh, they're probably too far away, yeah.
All right.
No, I would have to get closer. And right now, I don't really feel like it.
Yeah, I don't really want to get closer either.
It could be teal, which is a form of blue.
At this time, the dragons and the trees that they seem to have at least very recently been engaged with notice you and turn to observe you as you head out. They are simply staring at you as you stare back at them, and one of the dragons seems to smile in your direction, parting its lips as though about to speak. And as it does so, you're going to hear a rattle and shake as the tree that it sits upon seems to struggle for a moment, and you just see this large seed. It seems to be like an oversized acorn. Hits the ground as the branch flails and breaks off, and then rolls toward the party. And as it rolls towards you, it's going to crack and split open, and out is going to tumble Cyrus, who looks around very confusedly, as though not quite sure where he is, and then very mechanically stands up and moves over to join the party, saying nothing as he does so.
And of course, he's not on the bond.
Cyrus, you are stood among the party. I'm adding your token back in.
I mean, at least this time he's not without his skin.
You see that you are outside the temple. You remember entering, and as I know you were here for the description just now, you see the dragons up on their trees as described. Okay. So, you just... Suddenly, the last thing you remember, the party was, down below in the stone chambers. A slime had just fallen on your head and burned you with its acid. And suddenly you're out in the sunlight again, staring down two green dragons.
Laramentis will say, welcome back. We have things we must discuss. I will telepath. Jebel, do you think it possible that we can stop this fight with the trees so that they are not harmed?
Jebel will look between the dragons and the trees and go, well, I think it entirely depends on the dragons.
I will point out that while you are having this discussion, as all of this is going on, the fight, air quotes, seems to have ground to a halt. One being grappled. They don't seem to be struggling a lot. And the other, you remember that they were able to pull boulders out of the ground and throw them as a ranged attack. You don't see that happening. They seem to have just been staring down the dragon when you came out, and when you did appear, that both they and the dragon turned towards you. I can represent that on my map, can't I? So they don't seem entirely engaged with one another, just so that it's not, you don't imagine that there are blows being traded.
I meant like things seem tense.
Yes, they do seem tense.
I don't want the trees to suddenly get like dead. My understanding for these trees is that they're like animate in the same way that Burial and Asperel were, right?
Approximately, yes.
Okay, cool.
They seem to be as alive and self-aware, as Barial and Asperal. So, yeah, it is a reasonable assumption that they are the same type of creature. So, after that small interruption of Cyrus appearing among the group, you're going to see that same dragon that seemed about to speak look this new halfling. Now, what were you? You were some kind of half-dragon thing?
Dragon, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That, up and down, well, kind of bemused, like, this is weird, but okay. And then take another breath and open its mouth to speak. And it hisses out in common. You must have made friends down there, or I would have gotten the message to devour you.
Yeah, we met your friend, and we came to a deal.
Excellent. Azure is a cunning negotiator, is he not?
Yeah, absolutely.
The dragon here is going to step lithely off of the tree that is struggling beneath it and moves towards you across the ground. Its green scales radiating in the sunlight. It looks you each over, and you can see that he is sniffing the air. Perhaps learning your scent. Perhaps simply interested. And he's going to make eye contact with the newcomer, squinting at the half-dragon thing, and say, "Call me Armashal."
Nice to meet you. And Leah is like stepping nervously and like hugging herself. She looks uncomfortable.
You don't
away.
see any illusion magic, Leah.
Yeah.
Appears to be truly be just a green dragon.
She was more confident next to the blue one, mainly because she has history with greens that isn't entirely too positive.
You're immune to poison, though.
She is immune to poison, yes.
That is true, but that's not something she's thinking about right now.
And not immune to
she's not
teeth.
yeah, I was about to say exactly the same
This
thing.
is a lot more a dragon could do than just poison.
Fair enough.
Pressing its large reptilian head closer, it's going to hiss long and low and say, "What do I call you, new friend?"
Which one is he addressing?
Kind of the whole party, but he's been staring at the half-dragon the whole time.
Cyrus, hello.
Hello. Cyrus, hello.
I'm Leah.
Leah. At this point, he's just going to look at each person in turn, so get your names, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raiken, how do you feel about this green dragon?
Oh man, he's clenching his fists. He's kind of bulking out his chest. He kind of moves over in front of Leah, kind of getting between her and the green dragon.
Alrighty.
He will say his name, slowly and clearly.
And emphasis on your surname, I assume.
Raiken of House Lumos.
A house. You dragonborn houses tend to come from Arcosia.
Indeed.
I assume you're aware of Bala's doing there.
I am very aware and familiar.
Shall I assume, then, that you wish for vengeance upon her?
I plan on dealing the striking blow.
You see his head, cranes away from you on his serpentine neck, as he laughs, long and heartily, and then comes back to kind of glare at you, and says, I like to hear that. I have no love for my mother. She has too much control over the brood. Then you'll help me take her out.
Yes, I will gladly help.
Good. He's going to look over toward the other dragon that's still just sort of hovering a ways off. And not looking at you, but still seemingly addressing you. He says, This is my sister, Indrix. Sister, meet our new allies. And she's going to hover a moment, sort of squinting at him before swooping in and landing, towering over Yukikaze. She says, So, Azurai has convinced the mortals to help our cause. Armashal nods, repeats your names to her, kind of indicating you with a long, taloned claw as he goes down the list. He seems to have a good memory for names. He doesn't mess any of them up. Indrix looks you over and says, And you, addressing the party, she says, you have agreed to Azurai's condition. You will bring the scale we seek.
That is the agreement we made.
You are confident that without El Cement in the mix, you can take on the other three?
Yes, we believe so. But any help that we could get from dragons would certainly make that easier.
We shall see how things are going for you, and then decide if we will join. I am certain my brothers did not ask, for they are short-sighted, she says, making eye contact with Armashal. But according to our sources, Wittamir yet rests in the slumber given him by the warriors a millennia ago. You're going to leave him so, yes?
Yes, we don't plan on raising Wittamir.
That is wise. He's a fierce combatant, and certain to be unhappy after so long away from Aranta. Besides this, raising him now would only risk accidentally summoning Tiamat. Very well. I do not usually align myself with common rabble, but Azurai has assured me that you are standout among mortals.
we've done a few things that nobody else really can do.
You're the ones who challenged Shasharin in the desert, are you not?
Mostly him, and I kind of point at Jikakase.
Only one of you. Truly. This is bravery I have not seen in your kind ever. You have something to say, Yuki?
Oh no, other than when I stated my name, I'm just standing there looking very stern and very, very quiet.
Well, she's talking about you and calling you brave.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna stand there and be very stern and look,
Stoic.
Yes.
Alright. We had heard that Elsamenth had to pry Shasharin away, and that she was still shaking when she reached the north.
Well, the first part is definitely true. He did have to pry her away.
I think that I can work with you. We are all part of Azure Eye's plot now. Brothers in arms, or whatever it is you mortals say. Let my brother and I not stand in the way of completing your task for Azure Eye. At this, she's going to straighten up and look over to Armashal and nod, and she's going to spread her great green wings, beating them against the ground. All of you are buffeted by the strong wind generated by her flapping, and she's going to rise into the air. Armashal is going to turn back to the group, and you're going to see him, in a very human gesture, kind of raise his taloned foreclaw and scratch under his chin thoughtfully, and say, well, good luck to you. Come back with good news. And then he, like his sister, is going to rise into the air, blasting you with a strong wind from his wings. We'll be watching for your return and the next step. And they're going to fly off and disappear beyond the tree line for you. The trees are tall, so they don't have to fly far before you lose direct line of sight to them.
Release a long sigh.
Yeah.
That
They
was
mentioned
terrifying.
another dragon. Is he still around somewhere?
We'll fill you in.
He is likely in the room where the scales are.
If
Still.
he can't teleport, he should be. He's way too big to fly out at every other noticing.
I can shape change, and there was a hole, which I think may
Then-
have had another dragon in it.
What happened down there?
We can have that conversation in more guard. I think Leah had asked if Cyrus was no longer on the bond. When he popped back in, did he become on the bond, or are we talking? It's like speaking.
No, when he popped back in, he was not on the button anymore.
Okay, cool. We can speak about that as we speak about other things related to it in more careful, in a more careful place.
Okay, then where are we heading? Or better yet, someone else just lead the way and let me know when we can start talking.
The ground shakes as the two trees approach you. They look a bit scuffed, but honestly, it looks like the dragons went quite easy on them. And Fergus is going to approach the party and look over you and say, in Sylvan, what has transpired? Are you now working with these worms?
I assume someone who speaks Sylvan will have to
Yeah.
answer.
Well,
That is not a response that inspires great confidence.
Say we're implementing a plan that to try to make the least amount of death in the world. We're trying to save as many people as we can.
well, we figure that leaving one of the dragons awake is probably the most sensible plan. For reasons.
So, you will work with one to take down the others.
That's the plan. I think.
That will leave but one child of Tiamat at work in the world, but the other 4 will be sealed away.
That's the plan. I think.
If Bala is one of the ones to be sealed, will you return her scale to this place? Do you require our continued service?
I am going to turn to Laramendis and just... If we do manage to seal Bala, does it make sense to return her scale to the place where it was originally taken from? Or would we have to find a new hiding spot?
And part of that depends on how many people. Why is the name escaping me? Tatsuya made aware of this location and the defenses that were being used to guard it.
I don't trust leaving it here.
Yeah, it seems like we should probably move it to a new hiding spot.
Then I'll turn back to
Fergus.
Fergus and not Fergus.
Birchley.
Actually, yeah.
Birchley.
Good
Not
tree names.
We think, considering what has transpired recently, it might be sensible to find a new hiding spot for it.
Very well. If you have further need of us, Druid Jibble, you must simply inform the forest. We will find you.
Do I know what that means?
Given that you went through a good deal of training, I would say that even if you've never directly performed this task, you know that you can speak to the plants and they can get the word to guardians such as these. It is usually most effective within the same forest. Like, saying that you want to get the attention of, like, Barial or Asperel, who are over in Shirkawa, to a tree here, it might work, but it'll take a great deal of time, if it works at all. It's like, the forests are kind of their own network, and so trying to communicate with a guardian in his own forest, or her own forest, is generally effective and quick. But it is a trick that is unique to druids and would have been taught to you by Gliss. Okay. You know that you also have that item, which would allow you to summon one.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I will nod to whichever one it was and
Fergus.
say, I'll do that. Yes.
There is a low rumble and a rustle as of wind passing through the leaves of this tree. And he is going to turn away and begin heading off into the forest. Birchley is going to look down upon you and say, "We trust the judgment of the druid, Jebel. That this is the best course of action. Thank you for choosing it and enacting it. It
Give him all the
is
credit, boy.
beyond our scope." And Birchley's going to start heading off, and he's going to stop, and he says, "If you see the Platinum Sentinels who contracted with us, inform them of your decision to release us from that bond.
I'll nod after him.
You are effectively alone again in the forest before
What did they say?
Temple of the Scale of Bala."
Laramentis will say, I propose we go at least a little bit away from the entrance to here, and then I cast Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum and a few other spells, and then we can have a more safe and private place to talk.
Oh, and for you people who can read Dwarvish, I did find my note on what the temple says.
Oh, yeah.
Since that signage is directly behind you right now, you would be able to... You're in a good spot to actually see and read it. So, should any of the people who can read Dwarvish have a look-see up there...
Laramentis absolutely would.
Says, "In Dwarvish, no priceless treasure or storied hero ever enters this place. You will find only deadly traps and the great evil they restrain. For the good of all, turn back. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here."
Okay, so basically the same thing that was in the books, only more fancy.
Yeah, well, the book was basically, the thing in the box was basically just we told you there was nothing here, go away.
That might have been useful to know.
Did someone?
I probably would have checked anyway.
I feel very confident you would have. I think Jebel was saying something?
No,
definitely would've.
has this been read out loud for those of us who don't have that strong a grasp of Dwarvish?
Laramentis would have.
Okay.
Vendaro definitely would not have.
I'm gonna shout to the group. Over here looks shady.
In a good way?
That's my question.
Hey,
Is there a place
Once
that looks
that's
safe?
been, once that was read out, I was a bit like, these guys never heard of reverse psychology, did they?
Reverse what now?
Reverse psychology.
Yeah,
What's
a message
psychology?
like that just makes you think like there's something more precious in there.
Bye, Raiken. Are you Kikaze?
I was gonna say, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, you are.
Now I am.
Everybody seems to be gathering over by Cyrus.
he's
Leah,
a
would
reasonable
I...
distance away. Pretty sure, nice place to talk.
Would I be correct in figuring that Leah's going to stick close to Raiken given the recent situations? then you do so.
And as soon as it is clear that we are safe and she's not going to do anything else for an hour, she's going to resummon Lorelei as well.
Alright, so you go under the tree with Cyrus.
I'm going to begin casting Warden Kanan's Private Sanctum. Within the Private Sanctum, and I'm going to use, for the Private Sanctum, we're getting all of the protections other than the teleportation aspect of it. I'm then going to cast a Leomund's Tiny Hut. We will confirm via Detect Magic that there are no invisible creatures or any sensors that were there before we did anything, and if there are, we will dispel them. And then I will recast Telepathic Bond, and then we can talk.
How long does all this spellcasting take?
This is going to take me like 40 minutes.
Jesus.
So curl up for a cat nap.
So you're
So,
just gonna be like, you just tell them, I'm gonna cast all these things, it's gonna take 40 minutes, don't talk to me while I do it. In fact, don't talk to each other while I do it.
I'm gonna sit there, and I think I hear some sizzling still, so I'm gonna go sit there and clean up.
You're just gonna like take your armor off, like clean everything that you couldn't find earlier, put it back on.
Yeah, well, whatever I can take off in pieces, I won't take like everything off. I'll take like an arm guard off.
I think
cleaner
without
out.
help, it takes 5 or 10 minutes to fully remove plate armor, and then it takes like 15 minutes to put it on or something like that. So it's honestly not a terrible use of your time to just do it all, but that's entirely up to you.
No, because if we get jumped, I don't want every single piece off.
But then you can fight them with your nakedness.
No,
Can intimidate them with your.
I'm gonna
bravado.
take piece off by piece, clean up, inspect, kind of wipe off the gunk, because the magic armor doesn't destroy, but the gunk will sit there and be like annoying. So
Alright, those that are not...
It's also hopefully not naked underneath plated armor, because that sounds painful.
Oh, no. He's definitely got the padded clothing that you normally wear beneath plate armor. Those that are not casting spells for the duration of this period, which, Leah, you would want to begin bringing back Lorelei.
Yeah, but I would first ask you if you would need to, like, move after those 40 minutes. Or are we just staying in the spot?
After that time, we are making this area safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will be here.
Endar's gonna play with squeakers.
And yeah, she's just gonna take out that incense.
Alright, so everybody other than Laramendis and Leah may have a short rest. Because you spent time talking to 2 sets of dragons.
And this place is going to start smelling nice.
It's a forest, it already smelled nice. Alright. 40 minutes elapse. There is armor cleaning, there is scale cleaning, there is playing with squeakers going on. Jeb, is there anything in particular you would like to be doing for 40 minutes at least?
Oh, I'm going to be messing with my loot.
Alright, he is providing some soothing music while you all see to your activities. Raiken?
Hold up, let's get this straight. We are now grouped together, sitting on the grass in a forest in the shade, burning incense and playing music.
Playing music, yeah. Welcome to Burning Man.
We basically just hippies at this point.
I mean, you always have been. You just hadn't fully come into it yet. Raiken, are you doing anything fun for the 40 minutes?
I guess he's going to, other than resting, he's going to try to do anything he can, like, to help fix his axe.
Okay. That is perfectly reasonable. As I said, it was etched by the acid last time, and so it's got that -1 to damage but you feel confident that with a little bit of work and maybe another metal to be able to pour onto it, or work into it, that you can at least restore its functionality, if not also really emphasize this scar to make it part of its look. You also know that in your party, Yukikaze is a weapons expert and might have some knowledge that can help you if you wanted to tap him.
He will. He will go over to Yukikaze and ask him, "Are you busy at all?"
Well, I'm just working on cleaning myself up from the freaking nasty ass crap.
Yes, my axe suffered an ill fate from those creatures as well. He'll show him the axe.
Raiken, Dia can't communicate while she's doing this. She's just pretty much just casting spells over incense.
Yeah.
You could see if Sintaramel or some of his allies could find a way to attune your axe so you have a weapon worthy of card.
You mean make magical? And also, this poor thing did get beat up a little bit, and I will start rambling on about what the blacksmith can do to make it pristine again, and let him know that it's savable.
Now, did you do any smith work yourself, Yukikaze? Are you skilled in that?
I that was something I was going to pursue, but no, I have not actually pursued anything. But I do believe I have the knowledge to be able to know if something is salvageable.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
And then if it's in what the blacksmith can do to make it work.
Raiken will thank Yukikaze for his advice, and he will also turn to Leah, and he'll be like, "Syntharmil could have tuned it for me for cord."
Maybe. I don't know what he can do, but he's bound to have some allies. Considering you're basically working for him now, it will make sense that you would have a weapon that wouldn't, suffer the same fate.
I would also recommend that you let Zin do all the dealing, because you don't want to accidentally make the wrong deal with the wrong Fae.
Oh yeah,
So
no.
Laramentis' eyes
Alternatively, you
bug
could just
out.
ask Nalia to enchant it.
I am a little against this, just because it's dealing with Fae, but Zin very much wants to take care of you, Leah, so I believe he's okay, but beyond that, I wouldn't trust them at all. Look at poor... Raiken! How'd you get your armor again?
What are you talking about?
Raiken, how'd you get your armor again?
I just found it, okay?
Okay. I just wanted to clarify, that's all. So, there you go.
How he remembers the search but doesn't actually remember finding it. Alternatively, you could also just ask Nalia to enchant it.
That too, I guess.
That's if we have to have the residuum for that, though.
Like we don't have enough residuum to enchant an axe.
It's fair enough.
That just means less residuum for me to bring you guys.
What else are you going to use it for? It seems like an apt use.
Oh no, he got cut off. He said less residuum for me to bring you guys back with, and referring to his ability to revivify.
So I don't think it would cost that much residuum. It didn't cost that much to make our armor and stuff. We still have plenty. How often do you think we're going to die?
I mean, I don't think we're gonna die that much, but let's back up a smidge here.
I don't want
It did cost quite a bit to make these items.
I don't want to admit it.
It did, but not that. We still have a shit ton.
I've seen the Raven
half of what we had.
Hold on. What was that, Yukikaze?
I don't want to admit it, but I've seen the Raven Queen more than I would have liked.
Yeah, I was going to say that you say how many times am I gonna have to bring you guys back?
I mean, look at how many times we've died so far, and compare to how many times we can cast it.
Yukikaze and Cyrus have like a combined like double the rest of the party.
Yeah, I'm frontline. I'm out there, not afraid to fight for you guys, but I hope you got my back. So please keep in mind to keep me a little bit of stuff in your side pocket in case something happens.
You suddenly remember watching them from the Shadowfell as they carted your body around and didn't revive you.
Well, and then someone freaking smashing it with his hammer, going nuts on my poor corpse.
To be fair, your corpse was a zombie at the time.
They didn't have to be that mean to it. They just freaking pummeled the poor thing.
It was better than breaking your arms and legs off.
You could have like tied me up. I don't think I was that powerful as a zombie.
We were kind of in the middle of something.
You've still got a scar.
Oh god, do I really?
Yeah, from where he cut the zombie with his axe. You smote it. You've got discolored scales down your chest.
Jeez. Oh, I can pull off the special. He's like, you see, this is why we need to keep the reviving.
He like undoes the straps on the breastplate and removes them and pulls aside the padded jerkin. Like, look at this! Look at this!
Oh, this is from the zombie incident. Thank you very much.
Come on, that's just the that's just the protection of cord you have now.
So, I mean, how much residuum do you have to spend on... How many times can you cast Revivify with the residuum you have?
Hold on, that's a good question. I have that.
You had counted it, I remember. What's it, 300 per Revivify?
Yeah, I think so. See, it was 100.
Let's see. Is it on my other side of this? Yes, it is. I don't know where I have the amount, but I do amount of times I can do it. But I do have 56,000 residuum.
And it's 300 gold pieces per cast.
So that's what, several hundred casts? You really think we're going to die several hundred times where you're going to have time to revivify us?
We have dragons.
And that's just the amount allotted to you. We also have all the amount that Lair has, Melia has some, we have all the amount that Leah has, and Cyrus has some.
Perspective, his entire pouch might be enough to enchant his axe.
Depending on the enchantment. If it's not that big enchantment, all you had to do was make a magic to make it not susceptible to damage. If he wants to make it like a godly axe, then yeah, I'll take a shitload. If he just wants to enchant it so it's magic.
I mean, so just to put it in perspective, each of you spent roughly 100,000 gold pieces worth of residuum on your respective gear. Because you've already gone through over 700,000 gold pieces worth on the enchantments you got.
Yeah, the bill from the original creation session is actually still pinned. Laura only spent 3,000, I think, for a bag of holding.
You guys could buy several small countries.
The rest was spent north of 50,000 apiece.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that sounds like a better option than dealing with Fae.
Also, when we're talking about like acid damage and such, how naked is Laramentus right now?
He's not.
Laramentus is...
He switched to his magic robes.
Yeah, he's wearing the robes that you saw him in at the university.
Right, yeah. So, they didn't take damage, it was just a hair.
Well, no,
his regular clothes got melted.
So,
yeah,
he changed.
Right.
His clothes were in a state that was not comfortable, and so he changed before we went and talked to the dragon.
Besides,
Right.
it's not the first time I've seen him. The first time was in the Pocket Dimension when I got turned into a dragon.
That's true, and that was a naked lair.
There was a naked
Yeah,
lair
yeah, I
menace in
mean-
there.
Yeah, it was a clone, but yeah.
On the good news side of things, your dragon form is now permanent.
Mm.
Until a dragon dispels you.
Until a dragon dispels you.
Be a dragon.
Much. Or
Well-
anything else for that matter.
I'm just betting it's going to be a dragon, seeing as we're going to face a lot of those.
Well, I can talk to Dahlia, but for the time being, Yukikaze can, for now at least, die 187 times.
You're going to get a lot of work done for the Raven Queen.
You can,
As long as I can come back, doesn't matter.
Just going to install a revolving door for you guys.
when we're speaking about deaths as well, Cyrus, I hope you get this chaos under control at some point. It's becoming very difficult to tell whether or not you actually die.
Well, I will refer you to the name and the fact that I have no control over things.
That's why I
It's-
said you should try to find control.
It's chaos. It's not something that can be controlled. That's the definition of it.
Well, then don't blame us if you think you poofed once when you actually died.
I will try my best not to.
Raiken, as...
I was gonna say, to be fair, if he actually dies, there hopefully will be a body there for me to revivify. All the rest of the time, say he's poofed, he's actually poofed.
Well, we just gotta look at how extreme it is. If it seems completely outrageous, it's the curse. If it seems like it's like a reasonable way to die, then he's probably dead.
I have been challenged to find a seemingly extremely outrageous way for you to actually die, Cyrus.
It's true. That is, in fact, what they just said.
Just have the rest of the party be like, nah, obviously that was the curse. And then
And
he
his
just
body's
doesn't come
laying
back. Like, it's like a week later. Like, he'll come back at some point.
Seems like I might need to invest some of my wishing in backups.
Alright. So, as you state brazenly, Raiken, that Yukikaze can die 187 times, you've got the normal, calls and buzzes and squawks of the forest around you, but you're going to suddenly hear a piercing caw, and they're going to look up and notice that there is a black-feathered raven sitting in the tree, and it cries loudly as you speak about death in this conversation very casually, and you feel this odd sense that it is watching you before it spreads its wings and flaps off out of sight.
I think the Raven Queen's ready to take us.
No, that was just a raven. They're weird birds.
To be fair, I believe our goal technically is to stop as much death as possible, so there could be a small conflict of interest there.
I mean, she's Shepherd Souls. She's not like I envy death and I want all the people to die.
Indeed.
She just doesn't like undead or people living that are not supposed to be living. If we keep them from dying, that's a whole different story.
She absolutely does want all the people to die.
Yeah, but
Yes, but she
not
doesn't
at
want them
once.
to kill them. That's a natural thing that happens, and she shepherds them afterwards.
You mean being like Tatsuya?
And I assume she don't want all people to die at once, because at that point there will be no more deaths following.
No
I would
one-
think she's probably more indifferent on it. That she does her job, and If everybody dies, then everybody dies. If people continue to live and die, then that's the thing that happens. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've never gotten the hint from the Raven Queen that she's like, I want everybody to die now.
Right now.
All shall perish.
Sick of working, I want everything dead.
Work, and I work for these people, and then when it finally comes time, they're all like, no, not me, not now, I don't want to, I'm not ready. Fuck you. Get in the car, loser, we're going dying.
We're going dying.
Not that she knows what a car is. Okay.
I feel like if any gods know what a car is, it's the Raven Queen.
Alright. Your spells are in place. Leah, you're still summoning. Because yours takes 1 hour, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Sam, you are done casting.
Excellent. So we are all now within Mordenkainen's private sanctum, which is preventing sound in and out, as well as preventing sight. And I'm just going to list the other things that it does. So sound can't pass through the barrier of the warded area. The barrier of the warded area appears dark and foggy, preventing vision, including dark vision through. Sensors created by divination spells can't appear inside the protected area or pass through the barrier at its perimeter. Creatures in the area can't be targeted by divination spells, and planar travel is blocked within the warded area. After doing that, I would have cast Detect Magic and gone around the area to make sure there were no
Sensors?
invisible sensors.
Okay.
If there were, I would have attempted to dispel them.
Okay.
And then I would have gotten everyone together and cast Leomund's Tiny Hut so that we all had a wall of force around us. And then Rary's telepathic bond so we could all speak telepathically.
Okay.
So that's all the spells that Laramendis prepped up here.
Okay. As you did your little circuit of the outside, you did spot 2 invisible sensors.
Okay. Let's see. I had no 3rd level spells, so I would have done a 4th level Dispel Magic.
Mm-hmm.
So I will roll, because I would have kept dispelling the magic
Until you didn't see it
until-
anymore.
yeah.
Ouch, damn
so
spot.
So that first one, I got a 30.
Okay.
And
Well,
the
I
second
think that one's gone.
The second one, I got a 22.
Okay. 12th level spell has been dispelled. Both sensors seem to disappear.
Okay, that was actually, now this is a lot of abjuration magic that I just cast. So
Yep, you get 6 points back to your shield. Or 8.
Mordenkainen's private sanctum is also abjuration, so I got
A bunch.
because it's 2 times spell level, so
Mhm.
I got 24.
Nice.
So I'll just
Well.
mark that.
Now you are less likely to die in the next engagement.
There was so much disappointment in that.
Just
The Yuan Ti tried so hard. And then
they really did.
And then the slime.
It was so mean.
I couldn't believe it. You teleported right onto its exact square. It's like perfect. Amazing.
You're welcome.
This is what I get for assuming that you people were cautious. Well, I had to stab my cat.
I mean, those things were basically invisible once they were,
Yeah.
in position. But yeah, it's definitely your party's fault. They let you.
And I did look with dark vision and like a 29, and it wasn't enough.
They you feel
I
like
didn't.
they must have had a special property to them that made them blend in better.
Mhm.
I mean,
If
to be
they were
fair, if
findable, I
Leah
would
were
have
to
found them.
search, If Leah were to search properly with her magic vision, that she might have seen them, but she didn't.
Seriously,
I feel like Laramentis is going to call those umbral puddings.
Ooh. That's an even better name than dire pudding.
Just because, like, a black pudding, but more, you know? Like, hiding in the shadows, all that.
Raiken would call them an asshole pudding.
No, I like it. It's a good name. Umbral pudding. I'm gonna make that their name. Alright. So, all these protections are up. Leah's finishing her summoning spell, so you told Cyrus that you'd be able to talk about it once you were done with all that.
So, to catch you up on what happened, there was nothing of import in the room that we were fighting all of those creatures in. Vendar had found a room that was open to the outside, but didn't see anything in particular in there. When we saw that, we looked for the presence of both of the scales and determined them to still be underground at our level, and very, very close. So we went over to the room that had them, at which point a voice began to speak to Vendar. Turns out that this voice was a blue dragon named Azurai, as you might assume from the conversation that was had with our two new associates. There's a bit of a pause before he says the word associates.
Friends.
Azurai was guarding the red and green scales, and the deal that he wanted to strike was that we would give him the scale of Elsameth, and he would give us the scales of Karasoth and Bala. Azurai and his associates are working to make certain that Elsameth is the only of the children of Tiamat that is still awake in the near future.
So basically, we've shifted from planning on leaving Karasoth to planning on leaving Elsameth, because it was basically our plan, except we already know that it's not just Karasoth that we did. So we have Elsameth and his brood, and apparently some of Bala's brood even.
So, remind me, didn't we have a reason that we wanted to use Karatoth instead of Elsameth for some reason?
We thought it would be easier to convince Karasoth, but since we don't need it turns out we don't need to convince Elsameth, and it's already been convinced, it turns out it's easier to do Elsameth.
Well, the ease of convincing was more that we might be able to more reasonably come to an agreement with the tyrant for the ceding of land and the like. The blue dragons tend towards desert areas, which will put strain on Tuka and the Empire of the Four Queens more than anyone else, which might mean that we have an easier time getting everyone else on board, because they are not desert countries that would likely be losing land and people. But
isn't the Empire of the Four Queens one of the larger armies currently en route?
Yes.
So that might be a problem.
It is possible. I think that is more of an issue for diplomats, which is not my area of expertise.
Yeah, we clearly not. I mean, at this point, we dealt with more diplomatic missions than fighting, almost.
Fighting is less complicated.
So we did not tip our hand to Azurai that we are currently in possession of the scale. And so told him that we would get it for him. He might believe that I I think we told him that we know where it is, or we have means of finding out where it is, or something along those. Like I think he knew that, or at least assumed that we would be able to figure that out. I don't remember what the conversation with him in that vein was. Tristan.
He didn't. He let on that he knew a great many things, and he told you that he had a network that was feeding him this information. But when it came to the scale of El Cement, he did not give away any knowledge to that end. He acted as though he expected you to have to locate and retrieve it, and told you to do so quickly.
Cool.
Stating that Karasos's campaign against the humans would not wait. So, emphasizing that you're on a timeline here. You're on a deadline.
But so we did not want him to know that we know where it is, which is why we had left, and I have done a considerable amount of magic to make sure that so we can have these discussions.
And does any of that prevent the disguised dragon from just kind of poking its head through this mist or whatever this is?
Well, one, there's the private sanctum. We are currently in a tiny hut within the private sanctum.
Okay, so that would help.
While we are within the sanctum, we cannot be the targets of divination magic, which means his magic that might be able to read our minds can't affect us. So while we are here, I suppose he could be just outside of the tiny hut and invisible. Magic is not preventing that. But he cannot, at least, I guess, voice in the sky. I'm fairly certain, or like Sam is fairly certain that with Laramendus's precautions, it's like it would be pretty much impossible for somebody to be listening in on what we're saying and like watching in on what we're doing.
It seems to me that that's true, unless they were inside the sanctum already, and then they'd still only be able to see that there was a tiny hut, and you're communicating telepathically, and so unless they're, I don't know, a flumph, they can't eavesdrop on that.
Yeah.
Because within this bubble, you have made it so that divination magic doesn't work, so they wouldn't be able to like detect thoughts or anything like that.
Yeah.
So the floof that's been hiding under Laramendus's robe for 3 sessions is still around.
Look, he wasn't going to tell you guys about it.
Flumph?
One more time, Cyrus.
Perfect.
I was just asking what was that about Flumph?
I was out of character. I was just making a joke because we tend to like floofs.
This
At least
party
Sam
really
seems
does
to like
seem to
floofs.
like flumps, which honestly I
They're the
appreciate.
perfect creature.
They're great. I love them.
Apparently, except for Raiken.
I don't
Actually-
think you're the
actually
only
do
one that
use-
loves blooms there, Tristan.
Yeah. I actually do use the floof color in D&D Beyond.
Excellent. But I think that brings Cyrus up to speed, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So, my next intent is that we should send to Nalia and inform her of the shift in targets from Karasoth to Elsaminth and the reasoning behind that.
We told I forgot the name of them. The people that put the scale here in the first place, or like protected the scale here.
That protected the scale of Bala? I don't believe we've met that sect of the Platinum
The
Sentinels.
Platinum Sentinel
Platinum
that gave
Sentinels.
us
I was trying to
scale,
remember the word Platinum Sentinel.
We should also send to Kazanari and Dusty to inform them of our decisions, as we said that we would do that. Out of character. I think that was yesterday, right?
That you saw Kazanari and Dusty?
Yeah. Yeah.
You transported from them into Bromdor, and
It was
you
like a few hours ago,
hung out.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a day.
No, it wasn't
Yeah,
that because we slept in the mansion.
Mansion.
We met with them, slept in the mansion, talked with
Okay.
Tatsuya, and then so it might be within 24 hours, but it
Yeah.
was yesterday.
Okay.
So then the next question in my mind is, do we just go from here and bring the scale to Azurai? Which would tell him that we were aware of its location and could acquire it.
Do you have anything that we think we should do beforehand?
I don't think so. It will require magic to get back here, and that magic is, I believe, going to be very necessary for the hours to come.
I don't suppose any of you having to pick up like a souvenir from the temple.
A souvenir from the temple.
I have.
Somebody
a
has
thing
that piece of
I kinda have of it.
paper. You gave it to Laramendas, didn't you?
Yeah, I do also have a vial or something that I found in there. I don't know what it is.
You also know that
Yeah,
you
you're
kind of
set.
effectively lost a couple hours today because of your teleportation heading east. It's now, it instantly became a few hours later.
Mhm.
I think it's 2.
So yeah, we could teleport back here.
Figure the
But
more
if we're
options we
coming
have
back-
for getting around, the better.
But if we're coming back today to pass the scale along, then I don't think it tips more of a hand than just having come out here, done all of this warding protective magic, and then going to him from here.
I mean, this dragon is definitely not stupid. If we return shortly, he will understand that we knew where it was.
Which probably just tells him that he has acquired useful pawns, which I think he would like. But I don't know that we have time to wait much for making this exchange.
No more than 6 days until you're expected to return to Tatsuya with the white scale, scholar.
Lermendus nods.
Oh, right, there was all that.
So I guess the question would be, do we want to make some sort of show of things? Do we want to perhaps make sure that we have the black scale before we do anything? Do we want to...
Where's the black scale?
it's
Tristan,
being guarded by the Platinum Sentinels left behind by Dusty and Kazanari.
Yes, Leah?
the summoning will be done now. We talked for longer than 10 minutes.
Yes, summoning is done. You have... grab Lorelei.
Oh, 20 minutes, I guess.
So now I get to ask the question that I've been wanting to ask. What happens if you summon a creature inside of a tiny hut and that creature wants to leave?
I think the tiny hut collapses because the creature wasn't supposed to be there.
Well, nothing can enter it, right? Tiny hut makes so they can't enter, right? Wouldn't it just deny the spell?
It would prevent her from going through. She would be stuck inside until Laramendas left.
She's stuck in the tiny hut.
Yeah, I
Because
forgot about-
it bars creatures from moving through it if they were not in the location when it was summoned.
And
so she was not in the location when it was summoned, so she is barred from moving through it.
And the limit is 8 creatures?
9
Nine
medium or smaller.
Okay. Yeah, so she puts you up to 8. So yeah, she's stuck inside, so she reappears, looking around, Leah,
Does he look stronger?
do we want to do that now?
I mean, I guess we don't really.
No, I'm totally up to do it. I just wanted to make sure that, you're on board.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're talking, Leah finishes casting her spell. The summoning draws forth the sprite, but as the energies coalesce into reforming her sprite body, all of you around Leah notice that the form that appears, while nominally representative of Lorelei, is larger, more muscular, simply looks like she's gone through like months of heavy strength training. Just buff and tanky for a sprite. Still a diminutive creature, a tiny creature, but definitely doesn't look as frail and elven as she did before.
Guess she would have some better armor as well, maybe.
Yes.
So, I mean,
But
for most people probably wouldn't notice. Leah would. I mean, she's tiny. Most people probably didn't pay attention to how she was dressed.
you've got some people here, Laramendus, who remembers every detail of everything he looks at.
True. Laramentus probably does.
So she appears, and she's going to look upon the form and be like, alright. Looks like it worked.
Wow, you look good.
She's gonna
What happened?
she's gonna start flexing her muscles while floating in the air before you. Kinda, you just see like a little blush on her. She's like, thanks. Zintharmel felt that my services to you were commendable in their intent, but lacking in their effectiveness.
Have you gotten more control of time?
A bit.
Or did that work just happen very quickly?
He felt an alteration to my form was in order, and his magic, he has gained enough control over it to bestow such changes upon me, be given my devoted nature to him. He wouldn't be able to change another Fae that isn't a part of his court in the way that I am, but because of our connection, he was able to change me, and I was not really sure about it at first, but she you can see that she's admiring her almost like, it's not bad.
Careful now, so you don't turn into Raiken.
You kind of see that blush deepen a little bit. She goes, is he here?
Turns 5 feet.
He's like, imagine you were just like, she was not looking at all in your directions. What's happening? She suddenly does a spin around the wrong direction and finds you that or 90 degrees to the right. He goes, oh, hey there. She is still you can see that she's still flexing, even though she's not looking at the muscles or something. How's it going, Raiken? What do you think?
Lorelei, look like you took under my training regiment.
Yeah, well, there wasn't so much training in it, but it's she's flexing her triceps or biceps. Not bad, right? Yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, now I have a flexing buddy, and Raiken's gonna start flexing with her.
Oh, great. Now I have 2 of them.
Raiken starts flexing, and she flexes in response, and then you just see that blush deepen, to the point that it looks like her head's gonna explode, and she just disappears.
What? Where'd she go?
I'm gonna be over here, and you're gonna hear a thunk. Ow! What is this?
That's true. It's transparent from the inside.
Why am I trapped? What's happening?
Laramanda's magic. It's not permanent.
I don't like it. Anyway, I'm gonna be over here. Do not perceive me.
We did address her invisibility before, right? That is considered like an innate ability and not like concealment.
I believe for her it is a innate ability.
Yeah, so it doesn't work fully as witch sight. Oh, does it? If it counts as shape changer, it's D&D 5th edition.
If they have the... She is not a shapeshifter. She is a fae.
Yeah.
Her invisibility is one of her actions. It says that she magically turns invisible. It just says that the creature is impossible to see without the aid of magic or a special sense, so maybe?
I think because Witch Sight says you can see the true form of any shape changer or creature concealed by illusion or transmutation magic while the creature is within 30 feet of you and within line of sight. So I think that you can see her. Because it's not necessarily casting the spell invisibility, but it is magic that is making her invisible, and if it's magic that's making her invisible, it's either illusion or transmutation. So
fair enough. It does also say here that invisibility does not work on things that magically aid you or special senses that allow you to see invisibility, which this would count as. So yeah.
That's handy. That means that I will actually know where she is now.
As long as she's within 30 feet of you, yeah.
Yeah.
So at least you won't be the one to be poofing her when she's out there invisible, which I don't think really you have. It's mostly been everyone else.
Yeah.
The Eldritch Blast goes through her square and just stops.
Shit.
That's actually a funny thing, though. If Laramendes casts a magic missile and she's in between target, the magic missile will just swirl around nothing. Because magic missile never miss, right? So
Yeah.
you would just twirl around nothing in air and then continue on.
I feel like it would take a broader arc, unless it was funnier, for it to stop right next to her and then just do a super quick new, and then just go back as in the arc that it was already going in. But
That sounds funny.
so that's situational.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we digress.
So yes, she reappears. The people in the party see that she is changed, altered from her previous form, and she has said that it was something that Zentharamil did to her, and that she was hesitant at first, but she's not unhappy with the change to the form now that she's seen it. So, Lorelei just went invisible and discovered that she couldn't leave, and you explained that it was Laramenda's spell trapping her and that it was non-permanent.
Yeah.
If you would like for her to, if she would like to leave, you can put her in a pocket dimension, walk out of the area, and then pull her out of the pocket dimension, and there's nothing that would prevent you from doing that.
Yeah, but then she won't be able to get back in.
That is true.
It's all temporary. I will telepathically fill Lola in on what's been going on since she poofed.
Okay.
Because she doesn't know that we changed targets, like dragon and stuff.
It's true. You rosebud her. Cyrus, are you feeling all caught up?
I believe so. We have switched to the Blue Dragon because he did a fair bit of our work for us and said, "Hey, let's work together." This was just having to approach Karasov.
Yeah.
Part of the deal with Azurai was that we might be able to have an audience with Elsameth, which would also potentially prove beneficial, but terrifying, as opposed to trying to swing a meeting with Karasov from sendings and other means of communication.
Yeah.
All that work on the
had provided
Karasov
the
sending.
scale, of course. I'm still proud of that sending.
You should send it to Elsameth instead.
But like it says, like the sending comes in, like it's like basically you just hear the redacted Karasov. It's just like, but like there's like a little Karasov with Elsameth, just like. It's just like,
it sounds like it's been dubbed over.
Every time it says Elsameth, it just completely breaks tone and someone else's voice entirely.
Just the pre-recorded single tonation, Elsameth. Mighty Elsameth, we beseech you for the... Thank you for hearing out our Elsameth.
Yeah, that's exactly what I imagine it would be like.
I don't think we actually ever say Karasov in the sending, but
We have to now.
well, now we don't need to send it. But yes, so send to Nalia to inform her, since she has already informed Claire, and there are other discussions that will soon be in the works. Inform Dusty and Kazunari about our plan, and see what.
The other nations are already working on a plan to deal with Karasov.
Yeah, that's why we need to do that now.
It's been, what, like 24 hours?
Since we were with
Back to
Nalia,
Nalia,
it's
it's been a
been
couple.
like
An hour?
2 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
Alright, so
2 hours.
not too much damage yet.
Right, but she had spent those several hours before you departed talking to Claire, and so
Yeah.
now all that information's going to change.
That's gonna be like update. Karasov out. Elsameth in. Go.
Apologies. But yes, so send to Nalia, send to Kazunari and Dusty. Bring Azurai the scale. Acquire the black scale, and then go to Dicoselthus and talk to Cabrel,
Yeah.
and then acquire the black scale. I think that is a more fitting order.
It is reasonable. You guys can talk to Asperel and Bariel.
Yes. It's been a while. I love those fuckers.
Without them accusing you of making Pelor soup. Hopefully.
I just loved the, like, tell me that. They said that you did this. Tell me that you didn't do this.
Turn around. We didn't do that, right? That didn't. So here's how we did it. God damn it! I didn't ask how.
If you lied, I would have believed you. Is everyone happy with this plan? With the understanding that it will be tipping our hand a bit to Azurai, but that tipping of the hand might raise our use in his eye, which could be beneficial for the later discussions with Elsameth.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Works for me. We're killing Bala either way.
Yes.
Fine with
Okay.
it.
Now you got permission from her children to kill her, even.
I need to use a 5th and a 6th level sending.
Wait, Chris, are you
Malachi.
on-
I have so few spell slots
All right,
left.
hang on. Malachi, what?
it was Shisharan that hit my tribes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Sharon the
Shisharan.
Black Dragon.
Yeah, Shisharan's going down too.
I don't think I've used my rock today. If you want to save a spell slot, if a basic sending will work.
I think the words will be beneficial.
True, 6th
at
level
least-
gives you the most words.
At least for Nalia, I'm going to need more words.
Why can't you just use your magic stone thingy to contact Nalia? Yeah, you know that when you can see her.
Oh,
through
Ash.
That is true.
Ash is like bobbing next to your shoulder, looks at Leah, turns, looks at Laramenus, looks back to Leah.
So my concern was catching her at a bad time.
He looks back at you.
No, we wouldn't want that. She blush a little.
Yeah, what kind of bad time?
In company that shouldn't be hearing about the dragons.
You're no fun.
I think Laramenus just like does not pick up on what you were implying.
Oh no, Dia was absolutely implying the same thing. She looks disappointed.
Yeah, Raiken picked up on that, so that's why I continued it.
Ash just looks at the both of you, and you see him like shaking, like back and forth, like, no. Disappointed. Cyrus is pacing. He must be impatient.
I can be nervous. Some people deal with nerves that way.
What's there to be done?
Have you guys considered that at this point, if our story is told by the wrong people, we definitely sound like the bad guys? Like, we worked with drow and chromatic dragons at this point.
Yeah, but that could be true of any story.
Same with any story that sounds good. Could be
Well,
bad when you look into it deep enough.
and granted,
From the different
based on
perspective.
yeah, like Bender said, based on a perspective, like to the bad guys, we're the villains.
That's something to think about.
I will do everything in my power to make sure that the truth is known by as many people as possible, at least via the Temple of Ione. So we will have first-party records of things that have happened. It will, however, be for the future to judge our actions. Cyrus, may I use the sending stone?
Sure. Boop. I'm going to just take a charge off of it, assuming you're going to give it back.
Yes. So I'm intending just to send new information has come to light about dragons. Are you available for a discussion via Ash? I think that is sufficient for that. So I...
Oh my, please don't make me need to send this ending.
I think she has an understanding of the amount of jumping around that we are going to be doing and the magic that will be expended, and so knows that my spell slots are limited.
I don't suppose anyone else knows plane shift.
I do.
At least.
Anyone else? Yours is spent. Right? Or do I have that misremembered?
Oh.
Well, I guess the question is, and I only have to ask because I've not looked into it, how it works at all. Are you able to use the Mystic Arcana in order to cast the same spell at multiple levels? Or do they
No.
are they just for one spell each?
Yeah, they're locked in the levels and one spell each. So
Okay.
I can't use plane shifts until I had a full rest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so our ability to teleport now is
Teleport,
considerably
teleport,
limited.
teleport, teleport, teleport.
Teleport, and anything Jibble still has access to.
Transport via trees.
And
Plants.
teleportation circle.
Yeah, Laramentis knows the teleportation circle for Dagos Hellfist.
Do we have a reason to go there?
We need to speak to the Daikon about the situation with the dragons.
Fair enough.
I don't. Cyrus had come in like late in all of that. I don't. Does he actually? Does he know that Laramentis and the Daikon are like old friends?
I came in like the last night you guys were in the palace, basically.
Okay, so he probably. I don't think he would know that like what the nature of their relationship.
I also don't remember it, so I'm going to just go with nope for simplicity's sake.
That's fair.
All right, you receive sending back.
Okay. I am going to... I'm going to wait 5 minutes. To... I'm trying to pick an amount of time that's like... so that she can fully, like make sure everything's, cleared. And not, like, long enough that it's going to be super stressful for her.
5 to 10 minutes.
But I really
reasonable.
5 minutes is probably like it's probably not like good because I imagine it's like basically just left whatever she's doing and like so like 5 minutes might be too much that it's kind of mean, but like Laramentis wants to be careful.
Okay, so you wait 5 minutes and then you engage Ash.
Yes.
All right. You all see Ash goes through his routine as his light dims out, and you see just the floating stone with the symbol for light upon it, celestial, and then the light comes back in literal little pixels floating around him, forming a golden potato that slowly shapes itself into Nalia's head. And she, you see her eyes, actually she is Eldrin. So she looks at you as far as you can tell.
Yeah.
And
there's it's not colors, so there's no way to tell anything about,
She has a flat expression on her face, her mouth is pressed into a thin line, and after a moment of staring at you, just this, pause, this palpable pause, she takes in a breath and says, "Do you know how difficult it is to cancel all of my appointments without my secretary to do it for me?"
Why don't I get a new
would
secretary?
be difficult. Are there no interns that you can bring over from the school?
I do not invite people into this house lightly to work for me. There are very few students who have truly impressed me in the way that... You see her kind of looking down and to the left and pausing a long time. She says, "In the way that Claire did at the time that I met her. And we developed. None of this is important. The point is, what is this news about the dragons? Tell me quickly, because I already spent 2.5 hours today dealing with politics on your behalf, my love."
Laramentis looks like, like a little, like, abashed. And he's like, well, the dragon that will stay awake, I think we'll need to switch to Elsiment instead of Karasov. So the plans will need to shift slightly. The scales of Bala and Karasoth are being guarded by a member of Elsiment's brood who is currently working on making sure that Elsiment is the only one that stays around. And in exchange for the scales of Karasoth, and Bala has tasked us with bringing him the scale of Elsiment. So since we have that and can exchange it for the other 2 scales and then begin working with dragons who are already working to fight the other dragons, that might help us in the coming fight instead of trying to defeat this dragon and take the 2 scales.
Help me, dear, to understand this fully before I make another appointment with Claire and have to explain everything you just said in terms that the leaders of the other nations cannot panic about. Why we are going to contract with the Blue Dragon and not the Red Dragon, who was the established leader, that the others serve him. I thought that was why you were going to go to Karasoth, was that any other dragons would listen to him, or that he had power over them. Was that not our plan?
I don't know how much power Karasoth or any of the Children of Tiamat directly has over any of their broods. There are a decent number of red dragons who are not going to Karasoth's aid at the moment.
But we were there in Tuka when you challenged Shisharan, and Ilsamenth came up and said, "We have to go see Big Brother. He's waiting for us," as though they are subservient.
I am unsure of all of the relationships that are currently between them. What is clear, or what seems apparent, is that at least some dragons amongst both the green and blue broods are working to make sure that Elsimenth is the sole survivor. And we don't have any direct evidence of other broods working to that same effect.
Except for the fact that Karasoth's is not answering his calls, effectively leaving him without blood-related allies.
Lermandus nods.
You are certain that you want to go through with this alliance with a blue dragon to save Elsimenth, and not the plan that I've already convinced Claire to pitch to the other leaders with the red one? Just tell me you're certain before I go and spend more time on this.
I am certain. For us, engaging in this plan is going to gain us the green and red scales. We know the location and the protectors of the black scale, which means we have all of the ones that we need to seal the dragons that need to go.
Secondarily, is this conversation even possible?
Yes. She is not unless she is within a private sanctum that's preventing divination sensors.
Uh-huh.
But I think that Ash is not a divination sensor.
Okay.
But
I just remember the last time you did this inside the, I'm only just recalling that the last time you did this inside of the private sanctum, it had some effects on the call. And, like, that her image was distorted and that some words got lost here and there.
I think she was inside of one that time. So
Okay.
she would... No, it wasn't us. Because sensors created by divination spells can't appear inside the protected areas or pass through the barrier at its perimeter. So, you can't make a scrying sensor inside.
Okay.
So I think that was what we had said, that Ash was sort of like that, but on the other end, I think.
I mean,
So
he must
she
be
would-
working sort of like that on both
Yeah.
ends. So maybe what she's seeing and hearing is distorted then. Either way. He's already inside. So, we'll not worry too much about it for now.
The alternative, if we wish to continue going for the Red Dragon, is that we can attempt to wrest the green and red scales from the Dragon Azurai and his associates who are nearby, and see what we can do. It would be dangerous.
Very dangerous. We will have to fight 3 dragons.
you
might
see
be
her
possible.
expression. You see her expression shift as soon as you start going on about. Oh, I mean, we can do that, but it would be dangerous. She immediately seems to catch a clue into what you're doing, trying to guilt her, and you see her just sort of like shaking her head a little as she looks at you.
I mean, like, to me, it's a little bit, but like, also, Laramendus is like, this is the alternative. Like, we can discuss this alternative. It's like he isn't just like, I mean, like, well, he is like this. Like, our options are engage in this deal with the Blue Dragon and make this trade, or fight at least 1 Blue Dragon and 2 Green Dragons at the same time, and succeed.
All right. I don't want you doing that if it can be avoided, and you say this Azurai is very willing to work with you on this. You trust that he's going to give you the scales.
I think we had all done insight, and that seemed to be the case, right?
Nobody seemed convinced that he wasn't being truthful.
Mm-hmm. Our discussion made me think that we could trust him as far as we might be able to trust any ancient chromatic dragon. I would be unsurprised that Azurai is working to this end, and in order to succeed in that end, the other scales need to be used.
He also said he was the grandson of the blue one.
Elsameth.
Elsameth.
Alright. It's going to take me a bit of time to revise the messages I've sent already and have another meeting with Claire. If any of the leaders suggests that my diligence in this was lax and that an inconvenience has been caused by this change, I'm going to immediately throw you under the bus, dear.
I think that is entirely reasonable.
She said wagon.
No, she's going to invent a bus just to throw me under.
Oh, go faster.
She's going to silently stare through the spell at you for a few long moments and say, "Yeah, you're worth it."
Part of the deal with Azurai was that we could perhaps have a audience with Elsameth, which would be more easily arranged than how we were intending to try and do something with Karasoth without any kind of introduction.
I'm going to
So at
trust
least
that
one thing might be easier.
I'm going to trust that is somehow a good thing. I wouldn't want an audience. But if you ever doubt, Laramendus, that I love you, I will turn you into something horrible, and they will not be able to figure out how to turn you back.
That seems
And
reasonable.
if I ever doubt that, then I am certain that I deserve that.
I'm glad we have an understanding. Alright. Is there anything else that I need to know before I do this?
Out of character, I don't think so. Am I missing something that we had talked about?
I mean, at least in the arena of the dragon, you've covered everything that she would need to know. Remember to give Gabrielle my regards when you see her?
I will. She is where we will likely be going next to have her begin preparing before we go and acquire the black scale.
If you die out there, Lara, I will revive you.
And then kill you again herself.
But that's my job.
Your friends get it.
Larmendus just nods.
Keep an eye on him.
We'll do our best. I don't wish to share his fate.
Smart boy. Kisses.
Good luck.
Raiken's gonna be like,
You're going to see her like shut her eyes, and she's shaking her head, and then you're going to see the image deteriorate, and Ash comes back into existence as you normally know him.
Thank you, Ash.
Anytime, scholar, that it's available. That is to say, once a day. Anytime, once a day, scholar.
Well, that went well.
I think that went very well, yes.
Over Lara's shoulder, you can see Ash looking at you, Leah, and he is shaking back and forth like, no.
I think in Laramendus' mind that went about as well as he had hoped. So like
That's like 3/4 of a win.
Half a win is still not a win.
So are we gonna place bets so Casanari is gonna take this?
I mean, we had already mentioned to Kazanari and Dusty the potential plan of allowing one of them to remain.
You remember that Kazanari was found that to be a more logical solution, a more acceptable solution than Dusty did.
Mm-hmm. But with I think Dusty seemed to like that one slightly more than summoning Tiamat. So
He likes a lot of things better than summoning Tiamat.
yeah, tripping hazard in hell and all that, but at least this one's gonna hurt someone's shins.
Did you just say?
The bar is low enough that it's a tripping hazard in hell. But the bar for like keeping one of them alive, that's gonna break some shins. So like slightly higher. And also that's why I'm sending to Kazanari, not Dusty. She can be the one to tell him. I like her, but not enough.
Wow. She's done so much for you guys. You got that whole
She really
paper
has.
of her notes, and you're still finding wagons to throw her under?
Well, Laramendus just one. It just seems more logical to Laramendus to send 2 mages, because if they need to send back, they can. And 2, he has more of a rapport with Kazanari than with Dusty, so how many words is a 5th level sending?
3 is the 25, so it'd be 35.
Okay, cool.
It's 5 words per level above 3rd. Until 6, which caps out at 40. So, rest of you. Lorelei is back and embeefinated.
Imbeefinated.
Oh, Lord Squeakers II is quite happy with the playtime he's getting. He expressed that he likes that you get a lot of things done when you're in serious mode, but he gets he doesn't like being ignored for so long.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'll try to play with you more.
You should play with me while talking to people as a power move.
No, you think? Maybe I'll just have to try it.
Yeah.
Probably not when talking to the dragon, though. It seems dangerous.
I think that would be a peak power move.
Peak power move.
Dragons can be like, what the hell is going on, you know?
Yeah, it certainly would.
Which dragon? Oh. So, when's this go down? When are you gonna do the scale exchange? How do we say that? Scale exchange. Scale change.
I think the plan is to do that right now.
Are you sure?
Are we gonna... When are we doing the blue? Are we gonna go get the black scale first, or are we gonna give him the blue scale now? Oh,
I think that we are giving the blue scale now.
So yeah, I think we're about ready to go back and talk to him.
Is Jebel okay with that? Did you check with him?
I think he's
Let's do
here.
this.
None of us can understand him. Well, Jebel can, I guess.
No, Jebel
Yeah,
can't, and
no.
it's really frustrating.
He's not a real ferret.
It's like, Jeb was the one who didn't want to give the scale. So, find out why that was.
Did you find that out? Did you find out why? Did you?
I don't know. He's had this entire time to suggest otherwise and hasn't.
Alright, as long as he's cool with it.
You are cool with it, right, Chevel? You want to give
Yeah.
the scale now?
Yeah, I just didn't want to pull it out of a bag in front of him.
Oh. I don't get it.
That would have been a power move. If we're on the scale, we got it right here.
He'd all been all like, I want you to bring me the scale. And you'd be like, you mean this scale? And he'd be like, whoa.
Almost as much as a power move
Blown
as
is
asking.
mine.
Almost as much of a power move as asking, do you want that platinum in ingots or coin?
So my proposed sending to Kazunari, I'm going to run this by the group. Beginning plan to allow Elsameth as sole survivor of children in talks with Blue Dragon for trade of blue scale for green and red scales. Already confirmed their presence. Infeasible to seal them all, unfortunately. What do
good to
people
me.
think of this?
Sounds accurate.
Is there pertinent information that anyone thinks I'm leaving out?
Not gonna lie, I didn't understand half of the words, but I'm trusting you. It's accurate.
Poor Nalia.
Hmm?
Poor Nalia.
Yeah, no, I did not put her in a good position there. But you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, voice in the sky. I feel like you put her in a bad position.
How? You told her what your plan was, and then you changed your plan.
She didn't have to
The
be so
world
quick.
presented a different plan.
Look.
This is on the voice in the sky.
Look.
You're just wanting my girlfriend to suffer.
Elsameth, the Elsameth little thing there, that had been in the world way before you came up with your Karasoth thing.
Yeah,
I was impressed
I
that
was
you
gonna
guys came
ask-
up with it on your own, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that if that was something you planned before or after we came up with the plan to keep one alive, because it's oddly convenient.
Nah, it was before. I was just surprised because you guys had not discussed it at all. I'm like, all right, well, here'll be one that they can think about. And then you guys came up with it on your own. I'm like, all right, all right then.
Yep, that works for Raiken.
Excellent, because like when I posted the message was when I was sending it.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to see it actually like written.
Okay. Next time I go to do something like that, I'll read it out loud. I'll post it as proposed this, in the channel, and then I'll edit the message with, like, instead of propose sending to Kazunari, just be sending to Kazunari. That way people can just read it.
Yeah, that would work for me. Thank you.
We do things like that often enough that anything that can make it easier is a good idea.
Now you don't have to use a 9th level spell to talk to a possibly very hostile dragon.
Possibly.
Was
It's possible he wasn't entirely hostile. Maybe he would have been
He
intrigued.
wasn't very hostile, just pretty hostile.
I mean, there's always going to be a little hostility. He's a dragon.
curiously hostile.
Mm-hmm.
Good description.
I mean, we have confirmation that a lot of dragons don't want Tiamat back.
What?
Seems like most of them don't. Especially the children, because it means them dying.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't want Tiamat that because that means they die.
What?
And for the rest of the broods, I imagine that Tiamat's presence will possibly compel them to act in certain ways, according to her will, which is not a thing that most creatures would desire.
Alright,
Yeah, they like to have free will of their own.
Kazunari returns your sending.
I will read it aloud for the
What?
benefit
You're
of the stream.
saying that creatures that tend to enslave and have power over others don't want that to happen to them? What?
What?
So I convey the sending from Kazunari, the response from Kazunari. Very well. Tritons willing to commit forces to dragon fight. Want black scale brought somewhere. Send location. I don't think that I will respond immediately. Because I would like to be able to use my arcane recovery before I respond. And I think that an immediate response is a slightly delayed response is not extremely unreasonable for the question she was asking. But that is good to know that we will have the assistance of the Tritons. Now, shall we go and make a trade?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Should we have the scale out of a bag of holding as we go there?
Jubble was saying he didn't want us to take it out of a bag in front of it, so sure.
Do we have any preparation just in case we do get double crossed? We should have some kind of idea what we're gonna do if worst case scenario happens.
For double crossed at the end fight, or for double crossed right now?
Double
Right
cross
now.
I think our plan is the fact that there's at least 2 less dragons this time.
Yeah, I mean, we had a short rest, so we got some health back.
I didn't have a short rest.
You didn't have a short. You weren't that hurt though.
It's okay.
Did you
You
have
still
a
have
short
Death
rest?
Ward.
That's true.
Let you guys know, more like 70 short rests.
I have a totem of undying.
Is it called Raiken?
So I think that the desire to not pull the scale out of a bag wasn't the pulling it out of a bag. It was the pulling it out of a bag immediately upon being told, "Bring me the scale." Right, Jebel?
Hmm? Wait, why am I muted? Are you
beautiful.
following up on what Vendar said?
No.
Sorry, I was distracted by the sending that I just got. which I need to come up with how to respond to for the benefit of the stream. Laramendus has received a sending from the simulacra, the simulacrum Laramendus. It says, "Want to discuss the nature of existence? Feeling pensive. Started to read your books, then realized I wrote them."
Oh man.
So that was slightly following up on what Vendar had said, just because when I asked if we wanted to go in there holding it outside of a bag, Sam is blanking on who had mentioned a potential objection to it.
My objection was about retrieving it right then and there.
Yeah.
Not. The problem was not pulling it out of a bag.
Yeah.
It was
That's
pulling out of a
what
bag
I had thought.
right there.
I mostly said that as a joke, but
Okay.
I
Only
figured.
mostly.
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, do people want it out of the bag and causing us discomfort, but likely, alerting Azrai to the fact that as we are walking, I assume that I would think that he is making the assumption that should we walk back into the temple to see him, we are in possession of it, or we are fools.
Or both.
How will this thing affect a dragon? It's going to screw with us.
You mean the scale?
Before you guys go and pull it out, I would like to be a minimum safe distance away from it.
You want to wait out here?
Do we know how big its pulses were?
We know that the magic disruption effect is fairly, 15 feet is when it starts to disrupt magic?
I think it was between 10 and 15 feet. I was trying to see if I'd written it down. But yeah, let's say 15 feet.
Alright, so I'll just keep a good 20-foot gap between me and it, and I think we'll be okay. Whose bag is it in?
That is currently in my bag. Vendar, you have been our spokesperson with Azurai. Would you like to continue to do so and be the one to hold the scale?
Sure.
Okay. If
I marked out the tiny hut.
Sweet. If everyone who wants to be far enough away from the scale and all of that is, Laramendus will reach into the bag and...
You'll get no response from Cyrus as he cannot hear you.
Are you out of the private sanctum?
How is it?
Private sanctum is larger than the tiny hut.
Yeah, the private sanctum is, I guess I didn't specify how, but it's able to be 100 feet on a side.
Oh, then never mind.
Like, it can be massive. Like, it's probably less than that, but, like... There's definitely space between the edge of the private sanctum and the tiny hut. But yeah, if everyone is content with the situation, Laramendus will take the scale out of his bag and hand it to Vendar. Every, half a second being stupider. As it disrupts his diadem.
That affects every magic item, right?
Yes.
That means every half a second I'm uglier.
You're just less forceful, personality-wise.
Every half second you feel like you suddenly don't know exactly what to say. Your confidence falters.
I hope I don't have to use that against Azeroth.
Go from being a charming a-hole to just an a-hole.
I don't think I feel any different, but I am very aware that I'm not as resistant to poison as I usually am.
you know that there's these little windows of opportunity for poison to get you.
Oh, and I guess since this was a blue dragon, might as well shift to blue half dragon variety, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being skin dragon.
I know it's
Mostly
still
fine.
dragon.
None of my magic items actually affect my stats, so.
Lucky you!
Every half second, though, Sylvan becomes a mystery.
You are composing poetry in Sylvan in your mind, and you keep losing it.
It just leaves.
Oh, fuck off.
That was beautiful.
Alright, you got 15 minutes to tell me what you're doing.
Alright, let's go back.
Alright. Both Tiny Hut and Private Sanctum are duration, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Tiny Hut is 8 hours. Private Sanctum is 24.
Okay.
But I'm content with them going. Well,
Wouldn't they-
I'm going to leave.
They're
the Tiny
they're
Hut.
flickering right now,
Yeah.
and from without the Tiny Hut, Cyrus, you're seeing that the Tiny Hut is literally vanishing and then reforming every half second. You see your friends, and then they disappear again into this bubble dome.
I was about to reply something like that. In hindsight, would be extremely mean. Because basically, I was like, well, if you want to talk philosophy, then you should talk to, and then insert a name. You might learn something, essentially, but simulacra can't learn.
Yeah.
So, like...
Am I a joke to you, Larabundus? So, you pull out the blue scale from the bag, and you head toward the Temple of Bala once again. Is that correct?
Yep. I
Alright.
have the blue scale. And I will lead the party.
Yep.
For the benefit of the stream, Laramendis' reply to the simulacrum is, the nature of simulacra is not something that we had previously thought much about, unfortunately, although your insight into your existence could prove valuable.
Wow.
Keep it journal.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find that journal. It's just like, you could send me, just like 25 words at a time, his, musings of his own existence, which, like, would be interesting.
Alright. So, the party heads down through the old, musty hallways of the Temple of Bala once more, led by Vendar, into the room containing the blue dragon Azuri, correct?
Dun dun dun.
Question: are there unsprung traps that I could step on while moving down?
Are there unsprung traps that you could step on while moving down? I think the answer to that is yes. Alright.
Okay.
You step on all of them.
So,
Stay to the wall.
which wall?
All the walls.
Facing towards the chamber we're going to, we always are going down the left wall, so stay to the
Like,
left wall.
You just follow the...
Okay.
Walk like this. Walk this way.
Alright.
Follow the leader.
Walk like Vendar.
Are you going to remind him not to go past you once you're in the room there, Vendar?
Yes, stay behind me. I'm
My intention: a good 20 feet.
yes, that's
Well, yeah, you can't be 20 feet, otherwise you're not getting in the room.
I think he's not going to enter the room. He doesn't want his dragon form to be disrupted.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
I guess I will have to move forward, but we also don't know if the other... Like, he was invisible, so it's unlikely the other ones are doing the same thing. I don't know why.
Alright, you make your way down. Azurai is still within the chamber as you enter. Vendar, Raiken. He's going to look down upon you, and he's going to look around a little and say, "Less than 2 hours, and you have something to say."
We have the scale. We're ready to make the trade.
Gather your group. I will deal with all of you as a unit.
Yeah, I will walk in as soon as I can, but right now there's like a dragonborn blocking my way. Move, you fat ass.
You just gonna step up there, Vendor?
Yeah, I'll stand at the front of the party.
Alright, roll a dexterity saving throw.
Well, I mean, I guess I do have my 29 passive perception, so I will make sure there's not a trap there before I step there.
There's a trap there.
Okay, then I won't step there. I'll stay here. Sure, a lot of traps in this room.
Yes. They wanted to protect the scale, Bala. Going to just blink down at the party. I can smell you in the hallway. Don't make me demand.
Vendar, is it possible for you to have a few steps to the right? Just kind of worm my way through little spaces along the wall.
Vendar, are you the one holding the scale?
I am, yeah.
Very well. Looking over the party, it's going to peck out the blue half-dragon and look over at you. Say, "You are not familiar. Who are you?"
My name is Cyrus. I am normally with this group. I was, well, not really sure where I was when this meeting took place, but well, couldn't
You're
be
the
here.
sorcerer.
That would be true, yes.
What is this form you wear?
One that will help against lightning if, for some reason, you decide to try and keep all 3 scales.
I should kill you for your insolence in insinuating that I would not hold up the bargain I made with your group.
Raiken's gonna turn. He's like, yeah, he probably should.
Not helping. Sorry, I'm not fully
Bow!
aware of what... I will do so.
As you bow, he's going to draw in a slow breath and ease himself backward from you. Letting it out, you can see the sparks at his the end of his muzzle as he exhales, the ions of air arcing as he breathes them out. Now, you will remember your place during these proceedings and beyond, Cyrus.
Out of character, I can't quite tell if that's a question or a statement.
It is a question. It is posed as a statement, but he expects a yes. And he seems to expect it to be a very apologetic and meek yes. He seems very full of himself.
Am I aware of a particular honorific that he might be expecting?
You are not, but it is safe. You know that it is safe to safe to say, Master, if you're comfortable with that.
Alright.
Which it's entirely reasonable not to be.
You could say the stuff in Draconic.
Can speak Draconic.
Yeah, I probably would speak Draconic. But I have the greater goal at mind. Any personal misgivings are being set aside for this. So,
Right.
I'd say, hey, yes, Master Azrai. In Draconic.
He's going to nod his head as though accepting this. And then you're going to see his eyes narrow, and he's going to look back and forth, and he's going to find Vendar to the side. He's going to say, "He was not here earlier."
He was with us when we entered the temple, but he's kind of afflicted with this thing, so he kind of disappears every now and then, and he disappeared while we were making our way to you. And then he reappeared before we came back.
Thing.
We were in the Feywild, and we met some crazy Fey, and it was like a chaos curse that we don't know how to stop.
When did this happen?
Weeks?
Weeks.
It's hard to tell. It happened in the Feywild, and time is weird there.
So a little over a week ago.
So weeks was very reasonable. Good job, Leah.
It's just a guesstimation, but yeah.
Yeah, reasonable. Good job. In the Feywild, you say? Very well. I do not like finding out that my new allies are flawed unexpectedly. Is it only him? He looks back to Cyrus. Is it only you?
Yes.
We don't like it either.
Is it going to affect the rest of your ability to carry out our deal?
No, it hasn't.
No.
He's going to narrow his slitted reptilian eyes at you. A long pause as he seems to pass his gaze over each of you in turn and says, "Very well."
But just make sure that he won't hold anything important.
As you will. Which of you possesses the scale of my grandsire?
Vendar will pull the scale out. I have it here.
He's going to stretch off from the, he's like sitting upon that archway, kind of scrunched up by the ceiling, kind of perched there like a cat looking down upon you. And he's going to stretch forward, placing one taloned foreclaw against the ground. You see no traps trigger. He's going to stretch his neck over to you. His the bony horns on his head waving back along his neck away from you. The one long forehorn on his nose rising between his eyes menacingly above you as he focuses on you. And you can feel the static charge as he brings his entire face within a foot of you, your entire body being about the size of his head, Vendar. And he eyes the scale, twisting from side to side, says, "Yes. Yes, this is it. This is what I desire. Look at the beautiful veins of the scale.
It is quite majestic.
He's going to take it from you with his teeth.
I am loath to stop it.
You feel this momentary fear of losing your arm as these short sword length fangs close down, trapping the scale between three of them, 2 from the upper jaw, 1 from the lower jaw. He manages to miss your arm, but you feel that moist, electrified breath on your hand directly as he bites onto it, and then he retracts back up to where he is, and then you immediately see him shudder, almost like a swoon, and you can see these iridescent colors passing over him in a random, rapid succession. And I'm going to end it there, because I was wrong about how long that would take. So we'll pick up next time with his response to possessing the scale. Let me quickly get you your experience for this session.
So this goes according to plan. I have a new post-game activity.
I don't think I
Pointing
entered.
him and kicking his butt.
I didn't enter last week's.
I got
EXP.
them for you, so as long as you've refreshed the page, it should be showing correctly, I hope.
Okay. Now, Tristan, I know how detailed you like to be.
Well, we had trouble getting in here as well.
There was
And
a
then
whole...
Cyrus
I forgot about the whole
insult
Cyrus
him.
thing. I forgot about the Cyrus thing.
and also us with our shenanigans too. Yeah.
Okay, one moment.
So in short, should have been gone one more week. Just been more efficient.
Also, it's
Or just-
D&D. Never assume anything.
Or just don't insult him by becoming a blue drake.
Yeah, like...
Hey, I'm like you, buddy. I'm gonna murder you.
You dare impersonate one of my kind?
I did this so I could resist you.
I should kill you for the
It was a choice. Okay, so I would like each of you to receive 11,000 experience.
hot.
We did a quest. Just because we had the quest item, already in our inventory.
Oh my gosh, I'm so close.
It's like those times in RPGs where you have accidentally done the quest before you encounter the quest giver.
Yeah,
I
so you get it
think-
and immediately completes.
Yeah, but that's kind of great that now you see it happen in a game that's, not on a computer. Alright, so with that, we shall pick it up next time, talking to Azurai, as he now has in his hand the scale of Elsamonth, and something is happening.
His hand?
In his claw, in his talon, in his hand. Alright,
His jowl?
in his what?
In his jowl. He's gonna.
Well, he would have released it into his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He picked it up with his teeth because he needed to. He seems to not want to leave that perch. And you remember from last time he told you there were traps elsewhere in the room. So he seemed to have very carefully placed one foot onto the floor where there weren't traps, so that he could keep the rest of his body up where there definitely aren't traps, and then grabbed the scale with his jaws, and then brought it back over to that area, and that's when something happened.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Alright, so, thank you all for being here, and I'll see you next week. Bye, stream!
Good night.